Hey, so I was thinking a lot of people probably see posts about coaching, wellness coaching, life coaching, and they're like, well, I think I kind of know what that is, but not really. So they just go by, pass it by, and don't really pay attention. So today I just wanted to talk about what coaching is so that you have a better idea. To be honest, when I first started my coaching process and I went to my first class, I was like, oh crap, this isn't what I thought it was going to be. Because I thought, oh, I know a lot about fitness. I know a lot about nutrition. So I'm going to be helping people by giving them advice and telling them how they can get stuff on track. And I went to my first class and I was like, oh, that's not what this is. And so I worried. I thought I put all this money into this. I thought I knew what it was. What did I get myself into? But as I went through my classes and every week we practiced coaching, I got coached. I started to love it and love the process so much. Before that, I probably would have told you, no, I don't need a coach. I'm fine. My life is great. I can figure stuff out on my own. But just the having someone to talk it through with, to notice things about me and ask me questions of maybe things that I had never really thought about, and just getting it out there out loud was really helpful. I would bring things from, some weeks I would think, oh, I don't even have anything I want to talk about. But you know what? This little thing, like I've been having trouble eating too many M&Ms this week. I would start with that little tiny, what I thought was this kind of a stupid problem. And we would dig deep and we would figure out, like, why is that a problem for me in general? And come up with solutions that would not only help me with that, but also some of the other things in my life. Because usually that surface thing that's bothering you, there are deeper things that you need to dig out and figure out about yourself and who you are as a person, to kind of help you in multiple areas of your life. So, and then I would take bigger things like, how do I teach online elementary students when the rules and the schedules and the everything is changing all the time? So it ran the gamut, but I looked forward to my coaching every week. I kind of miss that I don't have that little touch base every week now. And I look forward to talking to my coaching friends. So let me talk a little bit more about what coaching is. So first, let's start with what it's not. So it's not counseling. In counseling, often if you've been to counseling, you talk about why things are the way they are. You might dig into a lot of past stuff, why things are the way they are. And a counselor will often give some advice. Why don't you try this? Why don't you try that? In coaching, we are focused mostly on who you are now and how you can use that or how you can adjust that to help you for the future, to help you reach your goals. We don't give advice. We may help you brainstorm some ideas, but ultimately, you are the expert on you. You know yourself better than anyone because you're with yourself 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for your whole entire life, however many years that is. So you are the one who knows what you can handle, what you can manage, how far you can push yourself, and what you're actually willing to do. So while I might help you brainstorm ideas, I don't give the actual, here's what you're going to do this week. It is also not consulting. So in consulting, that would be like as a personal trainer, which I also do, or like a nutritionist, or other people who you go to and they say, here's the information, do this and this. In coaching, we don't do that. Now, you might have a coach where, like me, where you can do some coaching session, but you can also help with that consulting piece, but it's two separate parts of the business. So So we don't just give you all the answers, because again, you have to look inside yourself to find what is best for you, figuring out who you are, ways that you think, so that you can either use those ways if they're positive, or change those ways if they're ways that are holding you back. So what coaching is, like I said, in coaching, the client is the expert. The coach is just a collaborative facilitator. So what I do is I ask questions. I listen to what you're saying. I hear your tones of voice. I see what your face says when you say certain things, what your body language says. I notice those things and I point them out to you. I help you see, because when you're talking to someone, you don't have always a mirror in front of yourself to see how your energy and how your body and face change as you talk about certain things. So I may say, hey, I noticed that your body kind of, when you started to talk about that, what's that all about? So I ask the questions that help you to think about maybe angles that you've never thought about before, so that you can dig into those really important parts of who you are. Some of the things that we figure out during a coaching session, we may be clarifying things that are important to you. What do you value? What would be an appropriate goal for what you're really trying to accomplish? We also figure out what are the things that are getting in your way. What are the barriers, whether they're outside barriers, or maybe a lot of times it's barriers that we put up for ourselves. So figuring out what those are and how to remove those really is a huge game changer. We also look into your motivations. What makes you tick? What makes you keep going when things get hard? So that then you can use that in times when things are tough, so that you can reach your goals. We also, at the end of each session, we set some kind of goal for between now and next time, so that you can decide, what are the best next steps for me? What's one thing that I can do to move me a little closer to where I'm trying to get? What's something that we've talked about in this session that I can take and use as a nugget of truth, as a nugget for my next piece of change? And then a coach also can be an accountability partner. You can check in with your coach oftentimes between sessions. We'll definitely check with you at the next session just to see how are things going. How did you do with that little step that you decided that you were going to take? If it went well, then why? Why did that go well? If it didn't, why not? Because we're not going to keep doing the same thing if it's not working. We need to figure out why not and tweak so that it makes sense for you and who you are as a person and what you're willing to do. So that's kind of what coaching is in a nutshell. You may also have seen that I've done some group coaching things. So the difference between individual and group coaching, individual, of course, is just you and me. We're sitting down, we're talking. With group coaching, there are a few benefits to group coaching. You may like being in a group. You may not mind talking about things with other people. The cool thing about it is that other people might have similar goals as you, and as other people talk about things, you might think, oh, that's me too. I think that does two things. Number one, it reminds you that you're not alone. Something that is bothering you, you're not the only one that it bothers. Somebody else has the same thing. They're going through similar things as you. You're not, an oddball because of whatever it is. Number two, I think that as people share their ideas, you might get ideas for things that might work in your life. So that's a couple of reasons that I like that group coaching situation. It can also be a good way to just get into coaching so that you can just see how it is. I also, when you do individual coaching, I also do a free consultation and beginning coaching just so that you can see how it works. But this is a good way to kind of just get started, just to see how does coaching go, what does the flow look like, and could it be right for me. It's also not as costly if that's a barrier for you. I know that insurance doesn't usually pay for coaching, but it's so valuable. But in a group session, the group is paying for the hour, so the cost is diminished a bit. So that might be something that's attractive to you. Either way, individual or group, just an important thing is just remembering that confidentiality is huge. When it's you and me, I keep everything right here in this room. That's where it stays. Unless there were a case where you were, I felt like you were going to be a danger to yourself or others, then I would have to share that with the right people. Same thing in a group. If you plan to come to a group, remembering that it is a confidential thing. So as a member of a group, you want to trust other people. You also want to be trustworthy, that people know that when you leave the group, you're not going to be talking about things that they have said to others. So think about coaching. Think about if it might be right for you. Honestly, like I said, when I first started, I thought it was something else, and now I'm kind of addicted. So I love it. You might love it as well. Feel free to reach out to me with any questions that you might have about coaching, about my business, about the group coaching if you're interested in that, or if you have a group of people who you guys together would like to create a group and we can find a time to meet, let me know. We'll figure it out. Have a great day.